We ask tonight that you take a moment to listen to the District Attorney and the Marin County Assessor as they open this program discussing their new team effort for this program. I'd like to thank them for taking time out of both their busy day and coming back to the first work week of the year and joining us tonight. So Lori and Shelley, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank
Shelley,
you.
you want to start?
I think you have the first slide. Oh, you know what? I need them to share the screen. Oh, do we want to introduce ourselves first?
I think we should introduce ourselves.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lori Fragoli. I am your district attorney, and I'm so honored to share this collaborative effort with Shelley. I've been in the DA's office for over 30 years. I've been your elected DA since 2019, and we really pride ourselves on making sure the community knows everything that we do to keep you safe and to work together as collaborative partners. And so this mission tonight is something that Shelley brought up to me about 1 minute after she was elected on doing this partnership together. And it's so exciting that we've been able to make it happen. And we have a promotional video we're going to tell you about, but it's my honor to serve as your DA and work with Shelley and other collaborative partners to let you know what we do. That's our job. We serve you. And I'm going to let Shelley introduce herself.
Great, thank you. And thank you to the Law Library and all that you do. We appreciate the opportunity to talk with you and just to help spread the word, because this is also an educational effort so that folks aren't taken advantage of. And again, I'm Shelley Scott. I'm your Marin County Assessor, Recorder County Clerk. I've been serving the county for 40 years, actually born and raised here in Marin, and this is my community and this is my home, and we're here to serve and to help. And I'm really grateful that Lori and her team and my team have gotten together to put this program together and to work for all of us, because this is something that certainly Marin County, out of all the 58 counties in the state, we have the largest population of senior citizens, and our property values are high, so they are vulnerable to this kind of crime. So I'm happy to go ahead, and if you guys want to give me power to share the screen, we can start with the power presentation that we gave to the Board of Supervisors back in November. Do I have that power?
Yeah, you should be able to do that.
Okay, got it. Okay, hang on a second.
So as Shelley said, this is a presentation we made to the Board of Supervisors. We've probably up to 5 or 6 times now. Every time we make the presentation, we get great ideas from the community and people who hear the presentation on how we can make improvements, how we can get the word out on an even deeper level. And so here it goes. So Shelley Scott and I in my office have collaborated to target deed theft. And the real point of this is Marin's older population, as you all know, makes our residents really vulnerable to this deed theft because we have long-term generational property owners. They've built up equity in their homes. They may have even paid off their homes. And that just makes them an incredibly attractive victim to criminals. Deed theft can go undetected, and it's really expensive to repair if it can be repaired. And so that's why Shelley and I have paired up to educate people and get some prevention going on. And also if something should happen, to alert you as soon as we can. Shelley?
Yeah, so exactly what is deed theft, title theft? Deed theft occurs when somebody, without the owner's permission, transfers the title of a home to someone other than the owner. And then although my recording staff look for fraudulent deeds, they're bound by the California Constitution and recording laws that if the document meets the recording requirements, we're required to record the document. What we do if we do suspect it, we notify Lori's office. So we are in close communication. Lori actually has a dedicated detective for this very work. And he's been wonderful to work with.
So deed fraud can include when a homeowner is tricked into signing over their property to someone else. It can happen when their signature is forged by someone else and then the property is transferred, or it can be strictly identity theft where somebody is actually stealing someone's identity and following through on this transfer. So And also, could we be sure that everybody is muted? Thank you.
And then she said we'd get a call back.
So what Lori and I are doing about it is when a deed is recorded in the recorder's office, we notify the owner based on that current assessment information. We're actually delaying that transfer over from the recorder to the assessor's office to actually give us a little bit of a buffer, because every transaction that is being recorded right now, we are sending a letter out to that recipient, and it's not only in English, it's in Spanish, but also I'm having a little thing that says music is playing. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Can you guys see that?
I can hear you, and I don't hear the music.
Okay, all right, that was a weird little pop-up window. My apologies. Anyway, what I was saying was, for every deed that gets recorded, we're sending a letter out and we're notifying people that something's been recorded on your property. With that letter, you're going to get 2 pages of what was actually recorded so that you can look it over and make sure that that's your signature.
So when you receive this notice, if you was a legitimate transaction, right now we know many people are buying and selling homes, and they're also refinancing their homes. So if you see this recorded deed and know that that was something that you did, then you don't need to take any action. But if it's something that you don't recognize or that you think is fraud, we have instructions in Spanish and English, as Shelley said, for you to contact my office and or your local law enforcement agency so they can investigate exactly what happened and how that deed was recorded.
Right. And ways that you can help protect yourself are, you can certainly check the recorder's index online. We have it here later in the presentation, the actual web address, but you can certainly Google Marin County Recorder Index, or if you own property in another county, you can, look through that recorder's index, put in your name and look at the documents that have been recorded. That I would encourage people to do this probably quarterly. That way there, if something has been done fraudulently, you can take a look at that document and you can begin the process to unwind that project. But that if it's fraudulent, you can unwind that with the district attorney or law enforcement in your area. If another way you can help protect yourself is if your home is unoccupied, have someone check on it regularly to ensure that it's still vacant, that you don't have squatters there. If you're not receiving your annual tax bill, you need to contact my office or the tax collector's office. That is something that other folks still try to pay the property taxes and try to take property in another manner in that way as well.
So our mission is, as Shelley stated at the outset, is to not only prevent this crime, but really educate the people, help spread the word. If each one of you tells 10 people, that's going to be what, almost 300 people who are going to know about this moving forward. So we really appreciate you being here tonight and all that you do, but also appreciating that spreading this word is really important. So one of the ways we're taking care of this and getting this word out is through these presentations at community meetings like tonight, through social media, and we on our websites. And we also have created an outreach video, which you may have seen. And if not, we're happy to share it with you and ask you to share it with your sphere of influence and family and friends. And Shelley's going to play that video for you now.
Yeah, I'm going to play the video for you. And after the video, Lori and I are happy to take questions. And I'm also happy to talk with you about what I've seen as the assessor in terms of fraud. Because this isn't, this is, mostly public outreach. It's something that we can do to help. It's not foolproof by any means. Lori and I just want to make sure that we're very clear with that. I can't stop all fraud. This is an attempt to stop it before it goes too far. It's not a promise that it will work. It's what we can do with what we have, because I feel this is really important. And I'm happy to talk with you guys about some of the things that I have seen as the assessor regarding that. And I'm going to go ahead and play this video. Oh, is it not going to work?
It's flashing a little red light when you.
Okay, let me try again. There we go. Hi, I'm Shelley Scott. Homeowners in Marin could be getting scammed.
Hi, I'm Shelley Scott. I'm your Marin County Assessor Reporter, County Clerk. And I'm Lori Frigoli, your District Attorney. We're here today to warn you about a crime that's being committed on a national level, a statewide level, and we want to make sure it doesn't occur here in Marin. It's a type of real estate fraud called deed fraud. There are several ways that criminals do this, but basically, this is what the deed to a house looks like. These fraudsters trick homeowners into signing over their property, usually to strangers, essentially giving them permission to steal millions of dollars worth of real estate. Sometimes a criminal or even a family member will obtain a loan on the house and the homeowner isn't even aware of it. Every time a deed gets recorded, my office will be sending you a letter. This letter will notify you of the document that was recorded in my office. Not only will you get the letter, but you will also receive an unofficial copy of the recording so that you can determine whether or not you signed this document. If this doesn't look legitimate, please contact your local law enforcement or the district attorney. Here are some ways to protect yourself from deed fraud. Check with the county recorder's office online to make sure there are no deeds or mortgages you didn't know about on your property. Have a locked mailbox. If you're gone for a long period of time, ask someone to watch your house and don't let mail pile up. When these crimes are reported, I can assure you we will fully investigate them and prosecute them to the fullest extent of the law.
And there you have it. So we're excited and I appreciate that the FAST team is here tonight to also take this a step further and tell you about other types of fraud and scams that occur here in Marin and other places. So I think it's probably best to save all the questions until after that, unless Lori, our host, thinks differently.
Lori, do you have-
However you'd like to do it, that what works best for you.
We can do the questions at the end. That's fine.
I think so.
Very
too.
good. Let's take a moment to thank both of them, and we very much appreciate the overview of the program. And we'd like to introduce now the Marin County Financial Abuse Specialist Team, and the acronym for them is FAST. And with us tonight is Maria Grigoriev and Charles Kasia, and they're here to talk to us tonight about projects that will also be very complementary to what the earlier introduction to deed fraud. So thank you very much. And Maria and Charles, will you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Oh, okay. And we're turning the recording off.
Okay. Do you want me to wait till after you introduce yourselves?
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, thank you very much to the Marin Law Library and Lori and Denise and everybody, and to Lori Frigoli and Shelley for including us in this presentation, and to you, the participants. This is really important, and I really applaud Lori and Shelley because I think what they're doing is very proactive, and I think it's highly important for everybody. And it really dovetails into certain aspects of financial abuse that I'll go over. So this is a shorter version of our presentation. It's not our normal, we're trying to tailor it to go with that. So again, my name is Maria Grigoriev. I'm a registered financial advisor with SA Stone. I also have California Health Liability and disability and annuity license with the state of California. I have also written a book in 2014 about identity theft and identity fraud, and it is a continuing education material for licensed agents in the state of California, both property casualty agents and life and health insurance agents. They can take the test under Infinity Schools, and I won't be giving you a test. I'll read some sections of my book, but I'm not going to give you a test, I promise. And I volunteered for the FAST team for the past 11 plus years. And Charles?
Well, my previous work background was bank fraud. I worked for Washington Mutual Bank for 10 years in their credit card fraud department. Saw a lot of stuff. I now work for ABC for 7 on Your Side. And I still see a lot of stuff with regards to fraud. I've not seen deed fraud committed where we've been contacted. But I see tons of other frauds, scams, cons, and kind of the list goes on. You know, I like what I do. These, you know, fraud suspects are really smart, and the way to stop them is to be educated. And this program, I think, is an excellent way to educate homeowners so they don't become victims of fraud.
Thank you, Charles. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and stop the
Share.
recording so you can,
Share.
Okay, let me go ahead and stop sharing.
Thanks. Thanks, Shelley.
You're
So
welcome.
the question came from Jane Downing, and it says, it's harder to know who is calling you as so many are working from home and using their cell phone, so caller ID won't show up anything connected with lots of places like appointments and info needed for medical, financial. I had this with an appointment with a hospital for a procedure, and pre-registration info was needed. Person calling caller ID was not in the same area code and showed nothing associated with the hospital. That always kind of concerns me when somebody's calling asking for information. I realize, you know, with the medical thing, it's different. What I would have done is tried to call back the doctor's office or the hospital, you know, themselves. I mean, part of the problem is they pirate lines. So, but I always urge people to be cautious of, you know, who you're speaking to, what information they're asking you. Maria pointed that out really well when, you know, dealing with one of her employers. So.
Yeah, you have to be really cautious.
Hang on just a second.
are there any other questions from the people watching? Let's see, maybe we can I'll put the whole, everybody on.
I have a question.
Okay,
Is there any type of instrument that I can record on my property that puts an extra layer of protection that I will find out about before property can be transferred?
Fortunately, there is not. I wish there was. If a document meets the recording requirements, I'm bound by law to record it. My staff is bound by the law to record it. One of the questions is, how many deed thefts have I seen in Marin? I haven't, Lori, I don't know how many you've had. Mine have been family members and identity theft is what I've had in my 3 years. I mean, how I was even alerted to this is there was a ring going on down in Riverside County around the Great Recession, and they were actually preying upon those people that had a language barrier. They were Hispanic and didn't speak the language very well. And what they did, because they were scamming through the recorder's index and was looking for a notice of default. The notice of default is a document that gets recorded if you get behind on your mortgage. It's the starting process for a bank to start the foreclosure process. And what they did was they were scamming through all of these things. And, you know, because many people were out of work and you know, behind on various payments, they would contact these people with a scam saying, hey, you know, we know you're out of work, you know, why don't you just sign your property over to me for 6 months? When you get caught up and you pay it back with a little bit of interest, I'll sign it back over to you. This way here, the creditors won't take your home, blah, 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 blah. And these people signed away their home. And I know one guy, when they talked about it in the article, it took him 8 years to unwind the cloud of title, not only because he had to hire lawyers to help. It was just, it was absolutely awful. And, you know, I know this isn't perfect, but it's something that we can do. It's just some sort of an alert saying, hey, something's been recorded on your property. If you didn't do this, please contact local law enforcement, or Lori. If you have, go ahead and disregard the notice. So, you know, certainly if you refinanced or you purchased property, and you know you've done it, this letter isn't going to affect you. But if something is recorded, I'm going to notify you. Anytime there's a deed change, I'm going to be notifying everyone. The other thing that I think that was something that I'm also working with, it was just because of the video that Lori and I did, a retired district attorney contacted me and is working with somebody, somebody in the tech field. And they're working on an app right now that they have on the phone that will work the notary. This is an aspect to actually stop the type of fraud that is the identity theft. And how they're looking to do that is when they are doing the documents, this app will walk the notary through all of the documents when you refinance or sell property. Anytime you're dealing with those real estate documents, the notary, when they take the picture of the person's driver's license, the front and back, taps into this database and verifies who this person is. And they ask some really bizarre, strange questions of, where did you live when you were in 3rd grade? And, you know, who is your great great grandmother? And, you know, things that only you would know. So it's really dialing in on just that person. And they asked if I wanted to be a pilot program for them to do this. And I said, yes. And I asked them to please reach out to the title companies, because I am also the county clerk in this county. I'm the one that issues all the notary licenses. So I can certainly put out pamphlets and encourage them. I can't make them. Of course, I kind of said, well, maybe we can talk to our lawmakers and maybe make this a law, but we're going to try it out anyway. I want to be one of the test cases, if you will, in this county. So right now they're in the process of reaching out to all of the title companies, and I'm hoping that they will be agreeable to it. And it's something that we can pilot here in Marin County.
And Shelley, there's a
I
couple
hope that
questions.
answers your question. Let me see if there's any more.
There is one about legislation and where do you send the notice? And I would also say that we've had not very many of these specific cases like this. Most of the time, it is somebody who has committed fraud and improperly, as an example, Shelley gave, used money that they got perhaps on a house or a loan and used it to their own advantage, not what it was supposed to be for. And this really is an educational program that we're presenting here today. It's a prevention and educational. And then one of the questions was, Shelley, about legislation. And I know you and I talked about that tonight before we started.
Yeah, I have been encouraging all of my fellow recorders up and down the state to partner with their district attorney. I'm trying to see after about 6 months how successful this program really is, because it takes me partnering with Lori. Our offices need to work together, but it's also really, there's the advantage that I also have being the assessor, the recorder, and the county clerk, is that I hold off intentionally changing that title over on the assessment side of the house so that I have a few days, I have a buffer time period of when I'm sending that notice out. So I've got a little bit of leeway there, and it's intentional because I want to give people a few days. Sometimes it's a few days with the mail. Sometimes it's a few days if they're away on vacation, if they're out of town and maybe they're not getting to their mail on a regular basis. I'm trying to create as much of a buffer as I possibly can and still stay within my legal parameters. But it is something that I'm looking at that I would like to talk to possibly Mike McGuire. He is tremendous to work with. But I want to see how this is really working before I try to, really roll it out statewide. The only other county that I'm aware of that this is done in, and I was actually modeling our program after theirs because I know about it through various articles I've read and people that I know that have been taken advantage of. And that's why this has been something that's been on my radar for a very, very long time, since the Great Recession, because I actually have family members who were taken advantage of in this manner with the ring down in Riverside. And the Riverside County Assessor Recorder partnered with the DA in Riverside, and they've been doing this program. And they're the only other ones I know of in the state that are doing it. That's not to say that somebody else isn't, but I'm not aware of it if they are. And I've been asking others to do it with me. I haven't gotten a lot of traction. I'll just say that. It's still a work in progress.
What if like if you suspect that you are a victim of identity theft, what if we then like send you a letter saying, hey, just be aware, I think I'm a victim of identity theft. And then when you get a recording transfer, then you would say, oh, there's a note in here. Let me be a little more cautious.
Yeah,
And
the
and then
recorder,
change the law to that effect.
well,
Maybe we could ask them to, who would have to change that law? Governor?
that would have to go through the legislature.
In
to
the,
do
in the
something like
state
that.
governor? The state governor office?
The governor, yeah, they would have to sign it as well.
Yeah, I mean, because you would think that if a law like that would help, like if, because now every day there's a hacking, right? Every day there's Experian, all sorts of people. So this is like, could happen any minute, right?
They're very
So,
clever.
Yes.
so, if there was a law that said that if you, because, like if we can like generally freeze our credit, so if someone can't take a loan and things like that, but you should be able to protect your house even more, because that's like your biggest asset usually.
Well,
That's why I really thought it was
Shelley,
important to send out a notice, because
Yeah.
prior to this, there wasn't anything.
Yeah. No, that's definitely good, but
It would have to
in
be
addition, I
mandatory.
think,
That's a great idea.
but one of the things Shelley mentioned was that it's important that you check, when you get your tax bill for your house and look at that and make sure that, everything on there is incorrect. And if you don't get one, you should let her know as well.
Absolutely. And check the recorder's index quarterly, because here's something else, something else that I know folks aren't aware of, but I've had a lot of folks that have come to me and said, hey, I'm trying to refinance and I can't refinance. I have this lien on my property. What is this? And it's a mechanics lien. And a mechanics lien is when you've actually contracted with a painting contractor or a construction contractor, a roofer, what have you. You've entered into this contract with them, and maybe you weren't satisfied with all the work and you didn't fully fulfill your obligation of payment. If you didn't, the law allows them to record a mechanics lien against your home, and it sits there until it is resolved, paid or resolved through the courts or what have you. And there isn't anything I can do, because the recorder's office is basically like a repository. I'm like a library. That's it. It's just I'm the keeper of all of the public documents. That's it. So, when people find that out, they're like, oh, but that guy didn't finish the job and it was this and that. And I said, you have to contact him. He's the only one that can record the release so you can move forward with your refi. And I have a lot of that. So it's really good to check the recorder's index quarterly, run your name through our system and just see if anything pops up that's out of the ordinary. That's what you want to be looking for.
And as Charles said, to be proactive.
Yes, absolutely.
Proactive.
Absolutely.
Check your bills, look who's calling you, check your deed.
Any other questions tonight?
I don't know how to turn the volume on. I can't turn the volume.
I have a question. With the recordings, you said you send out a notice to the owners. Do you send out a notice when anything is recorded, like the liens you were talking about, or just deed transfers?
Just the deed, just the title transfer is all I'm sending the notice out on.
And where do you send, what address do you use to send it to? And can somebody change that address easily?
If it's, they can, if it's on the deed document itself, because again, if it meets the recording requirements, my staff has to record it under the law.
I can't hear.
So who would you send the notice to
I
that
don't
that deed is getting
Yeah,
recorded?
my sticker. I don't
Where would
know.
you send it? What address would you use for the owner?
Yeah, it's gonna be the piece that's on that deed, that prior owner and that new owner.
Okay.
But it would go to the address that's on file, correct?
Yes, the current address that I have,
Yeah.
not the new, not a new one. It would go to the current.
Okay, thanks.
But when I moved in San Francisco, I moved from one residence to another, and I changed my address with the post office. And I think I got it was some financial thing, and they sent it to the old address and the new address just to reconfirm, which I thought was kind of interesting and a good way to, stop fraud from happening.
Yeah, I mean, I understand this isn't foolproof. It's just what I have at my disposal, what I can, I've carved out money in my budget. Lori's done the same because we felt this was important to do something. It's not foolproof. Again, this is educational. It's not foolproof, but it's really about awareness that it's not happening. It's not rampant here in Marin, but it has happened around the country, and it's more of a protection piece so that it doesn't happen.
Basically, it's being proactive
Yes,
towards trying to prevent it from happening.
correct.
Exactly.
I have a question regarding the mail. I have all my financial mail sent to my PO box.
Mhm.
If, can I check online and see if you have that? And if you don't have that, can I?
Yeah, if you want to, I don't just change automatically addresses. You have to come into my office. I have to have a signature because it will be compared against me. You can't just change the tax documents here by filling out a form. You've got to, I'm sorry, it's one of the things I'm really strict on. You have to come in and do that. I don't allow you to do that online because I don't know who you are. So you can certainly call my office and you can ask what the mailing address is. If it's the PO box, then you're good. If it's something else and you want to change it to the PO box, you're going to have to come in and actually do that paperwork. I know it's a pain in the rear end, but it's an effort to keep people safe.
Will I be able to tell what address you have on file?
Yes, you can call my office. You can call the helpline. In fact, I can give you the number. It's going to be 415-473-7215. And you can ask my staff, just give them your property address and ask them where are all the tax bills being mailed, and they will tell you where it's being mailed. That's public information. But if it's not the address you want it to go to, certainly you're gonna have to come in. They won't do it over the phone. You're gonna have to come in and they'll make you fill out some forms and they're gonna compare your signature. And then once we verify it, we will change the address. But just a question, we just had tax bills mailed out. They were mailed out in September, October, but that first installment was due in December. Did you receive that?
Well, my reverse mortgage pays the taxes.
Oh, okay. Well, then it may be going to, if you have an impound account, it may be going to the bank. But certainly call and check. My staff is happy to help and assist at any time.
Shelley, the other suggestion I was going to make is maybe put your phone number for your office in the chat too.
Oh, okay.
And I appreciate Shelley's policy of not making those kind of changes online because we've had an incredible amount of theft with online fraud. So it's really something to be aware of. And there's many institutions and agencies that are not really
You
following
make
up on
people
things.
come in for a deed transfer?
I'm sorry?
Can you make people come into your office for a deed transfer?
When they do the deed transfer.
Well, yeah, a lot of times those are done. I don't have very many that just walk in off the street. And those are the ones where my staff are, that's where their eyes kind of perk up because usually that work is really done by title companies. We have wonderful relationships with our local title companies, and some of them are done with the e-recordings, but those have all been vetted and bonded. So the majority of our work is secure because they're going through the proper channels. But it is those people that walk in, and those are the ones that when, you know, the red flags are up with my staff going, you know, we call Lori's office and we call her fraud attorney and say, this didn't look right. Can you take a look?
Which is good because you're protecting their homes.
I'm trying.
That's the plan.
Right.
It's not foolproof. I get it.
Nothing is foolproof, you
Yeah.
know.
Right.
I mean, I wish there was a better way. I wish there was a better way. I mean, thankfully, it's not a huge crime here in Marin. I'm not seeing it. Lori's not seeing it. But we have heard reports of it happening elsewhere in the country. And certainly there was the ring down in Riverside County. So it can happen. And so Lori and I are on this mission to educate folks because Marin County, out of all the 58 counties, we have the highest population of senior citizens and our property values are very high. So they're ripe for the picking. They're vulnerable. So I just really felt we had to do something. So I really want to thank Lori and her team because I couldn't do this without her.
Teamwork.
Yeah.
Any other
We-
questions?
We appreciate so much your coming tonight, and I'd like to thank all of you individually and tell you we appreciated your time and your efforts. And I'd also like to encourage you to leave with my law librarian, Lori, any resources, web links, or materials that we could go ahead and post related to resources.
I
for what
put
you're
some
doing.
in the, I did put some of those in the chat already.
Very good. Thank you again for your time tonight. We appreciate it. And who knows, a year from now, we may need to do an update on what's happening with these very issues.
We thank you very much for putting this.
Absolutely. There was a,
Do more seminars like this in the future.
I actually saw there was a really good article in the Marin IJ about deed fraud. I
That's
want to
right.
say it was about 6 weeks ago, I think.
Right.
It was the day after Thanksgiving. I was very happy that they covered it.
So was I.
Yeah.
I wish
Thank
us
you
all
very
good
Thank you to
evening.
the law library and Shelley for this partnership and Lori and for monitoring this. And it's a beautiful evening and we're happy to have shared our information with you and please stay safe, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good night.
Night.
Happy
Good
New
night.
Year,
Thank you so
everyone.
much.
Thank you very much.